Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Tyler G of Batman Figs on Instagram, and today's Batman animated series episode review is going to be on Deep Freeze. And I have a feeling you might know who the villain is based on the title, but I will go into it anyways. So the episode starts with us seeing a huge 1950s looking robot break into Arkham Asylum. And the guards and the cops are all trying to stop it, but they have no chance. And the robot abducts Mr. Freeze. And then we get shown to Batman and Robin, and they're like finding out about the break-in, and they're interested in knowing who sent the robot. So they go to the guy that invented Hardak, and all he can do is say that looks like a lot like Grant Walker's, who is a theme park tycoon, a lot like a Walt Disney type. He almost looks exactly like him in cartoon form. So he has his own theme park island that he lives at, and so Batman and Robin head there. And then we get taken to Mr. Freeze, who was in fact abducted by Grant Walker, and he's explaining why he did so. He wants to have Mr. Freeze turn him into what Mr. Freeze is, because he's discovered that the aging process is drastically slowed when in that state, and so Mr. Freeze is basically immortal, and that's what Grant Walker wants. It's especially funny because there's a rumor that's been going around for a long time that Walt Disney wanted his head frozen so that he could eventually come back to life, and so I feel like that's what this episode is playing on, and it's pretty funny. But anyway, Batman and Robin approach the island, and because Grant Walker has a ton of security systems and robots that do his bidding, they're able to spot them, and they easily apprehend Batman and Robin. And Grant Walker allows them to actually see his process of turning into a being like Mr. Freeze, and it happens. And oh yeah, the whole reason that Mr. Freeze even agrees to actually help, that he agrees to help Grant Walker, is because Grant has Nora, his wife, and he said that if Mr. Freeze helps him, that he will do everything in his power to try to bring Nora back to life. And he has a ton of money, so Mr. Freeze actually believes him. Now, once Grant Walker becomes like Mr. Freeze, we hear of his ultimate plan, and that is to freeze all of Gotham and eventually the world, so that it is at the temperature that he and Mr. Freeze need to be able to live, and that way they won't have to wear their little suits. Mr. Freeze, however, does not want this to happen, and Batman talks him out of it, saying like, what if Nora were here? Would she really want you to do this? Would she be happy that you're killing millions of people just so that you could walk around without a little exoskeleton suit and bring her back to life? And so Mr. Freeze feels guilty, and he eventually ends everything. He gets rid of Grant Walker, and the whole island explodes, and there's no sign of Mr. Freeze until the very end, where we see the famous shot of him floating in an ice-like thing in the water with his wife on one side and him in front of her on the other looking up. It's a very classic shot. For anyone that's watched Batman the Animated Series, you'll recognize it right away. So that is the Batman the Animated Series review for today. The next video is I will be doing a review on the 4th season and the 2nd episode of Gotham that aired. So stay tuned for that. After starting off strong, they kind of slipped a little in this episode, and yeah, we'll discuss it later. So I hope you guys have a great day. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. And I will see you soon.